Hi you guys and welcome back. So in this magical video we're going to have together shortly, I want to talk about what you need to prepare for if you've chosen the self-publishing avenue. And this is just to make sure that before you've written your book or before you've published it, you've obviously made a decision as to whether you want to go traditional publishing or self-publishing. And if you've chosen self-publishing, I just really want to prepare you for a couple of things that you might have not thought that you needed to do or required to go down that avenue. So let's start. The reason why I really wanted to do this video was because I remember when I was all of 19 years old and decided that I was going to publish my first book. And I chose self-publishing, and which I take no backsies. I love what I do, but I certainly learnt a lot as well, especially in the aspect of having a business mind. A lot of self-published authors, and including myself, I thought as soon as I'm going to have this book in my hand, I'm going to have an ebook, I'm going to send it off, and I'm going to sell thousands and millions. And unfortunately, it does not work that way. Maybe 1 in a million if it does happen for you, but I highly doubt it. And that's not being brutal, this is just how this industry works. So when you first start thinking about self-publishing, obviously the first and foremost thing is to make sure that you have written your manuscript. So you've written your book, fabulous. Things that you really need to do on top of that manuscript before it's even, like, how do you get to publishing, is you need a cover artist because your book needs a cover. You need an editor. My grammar is horrible. I am a creative writer. I'm sorry to my editor. This is important because you're in the world of literature, so you need to polish it. Next thing you need to try and figure out where you're going to publish this. So there's many options these days, and there's a couple of different ways. So personally, I use places like Ingram Spark, CreateSpace, but you also have options of going through vanity presses as well. So vanity presses are basically, you have traditional publisher, vanity press, self-published. And vanity press are those who will help you print paperbacks, and then they'll have bundles. Say if they go, we'll print 100 to 200 paperbacks, we'll send it to your home, and they do them in bulk lots. And they could offer you bundles as well, such as promotion or PRing. These are other options. This was an option that I looked into as well when I started, and again, I decided to go self-publishing. The only thing with vanity presses, they are there for your convenience as an author, but I find it, and the reason why I went into self-publishing is because they're not going to push your books as hard as perhaps what a traditional publisher would, or you yourself would. So I didn't want to spend, and a lot of these vanity presses, your bundles will range from 5,000 to 10,000. Some of these vanity presses are connected to traditional publish houses. So I think a lot of the time when people select these vanity presses, they think that it will encourage their book to be seen by, say, Hay House, for example, and it may for the rare few, but it's very rare that I've heard success stories through this. But basically, they will print and do they'll do the cover, and they'll do everything for you in a nice bundle, but they will still give you the book, and then it's up to you to figure out what to do after. So for me, the reason why I chose self-publishing was, one, I wanted to learn the ins and outs of the industry, but also, if I was going to pay a large sum of money for it to be sat down on my lap and I still had to do something with it, then I might as well do it all the way through, which is why I chose self-publishing. So you need to choose who you're going to print through. CreateSpace is obviously a massive global option. A lot of authors do this. You do also have, I use Ingram Spark at the moment. There are a couple of other places, but those are the two I would recommend starting off with. And then you need to decide, which I would encourage again, if you're going to have ebook format. So whether you can put it on people's Kindles, which is obviously a very good idea, because in this day and age where everything's on the internet, you want something where people can purchase immediately. Again, you can do that through Kindle, KDP, which is close to CreateSpace, or Smashwords. You can use Draft to Digital. There's so many different options to use, and it depends if you choose Amazon, if you choose CreateSpace, straight away and you want to do Kindle Unlimited, then you will not be able to release or publish your books on any other site because it is exclusive to them. But if you are not exclusive to them, then you can open up to all these different channels to get it into all different types of places across the world. But that's one thing you need to consider too, is how are you going to print your book or ebook? What way are you going to go? Who are you going to go through? So do your research on a lot of these sites as to how you want to go about it, when you want to be published. Now, once you've done that, again, you've got a whole pile of nitty-gritty stuff that I did not even consider that I needed. You need to format your book or ebook. So you need to fit it in to the template that'll be able to print it into a physical copy book, or the same with a Kindle. So it can appropriately be clicked through and read properly, beautifully. The presentation inside, will you have images inside? Will you not? Then you need to choose as to whether you'll have your own ISBN. So the reason why having your own ISBN is important to me was because I owned full copyright to it. I just realized I've been calling it CreateSpace. I need to make an apology right here. CreateSpace no longer exists. CreateSpace is now KDP. The reason why I've been calling it CreateSpace, they changed it about a year ago, and I had forgotten that they stopped calling it that. But they merged it in with KDP, which is the Kindle version of Amazon. So I apologize for every reference that I've made to CreateSpace. It is KDP now. That is where you'll print both paperback and Kindle. You need to think of whether you'll have your own ISBN. So I chose to have my own ISBN, which obviously you have to purchase. But because I wanted all rights to be able to be my own, or you can have the free option of KDP supplying their own as well. So say you have an editor who's edited your book, beautiful. You have a cover because you contacted a cover artist and they made a stunning, stellar cover for you. You then need to make sure that it's templated so that it's going to fit into how you want your book to look inside. You know, you pick up a paperback, it's got beautiful graphics on top, chapter 1, chapter 5, you know, numbers at the bottom or top of the pages. All those small things you have to do, or you can always find services or the correct person that knows what they're doing so they can do it for you. As soon as your book is nicely bundled, you need to then promote. So it is not going to just magically sell thousands. You need to be smashing out the "have a look at my book here" promotion, you know? So what I recommend is you can have up to 3 months for pre-order through Amazon and KDP. So I would use that 3 months wisely. Use all that time, you know, months before you've even completed the book, start promoting your work. Definitely try and start getting readers on straight away, because that release date is very, very important. And obviously because of algorithms and sales and such, which we can get into in other videos, but you need to be promoting it early on or it is going to have a flop as a starter, and that is not what you want, because you want to give this book the best start it can. So you need to start organizing, and it depends. Make sure you have a budget before you do any of this, because this can be a very, very costly experience. But you need to think about PRing. Are you going to announce? Who are you going to announce it to? Who are you promoting to? Have you sent out art copies, which I would highly recommend. You need to go to book bloggers, book reviewers, whether it's social, you know, Instagram, YouTube. You need a whole range of different people. You then need to think as to whether you are going to have your books available to libraries and bookstores, and how are you going to do that. So you need to go onto, again, different programs and different sites to be able to connect through all of these people. And again, we will go over this in different videos because it can go so in depth. This is just scratching off the top, but this is not to overwhelm you. This video is not to overwhelm you, but to make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into, because the writing of the manuscript is only the start of this process. As soon as you've decided to fully commit to self-publishing, you need to commit that this is a business. You need to understand that you need to promote this, and you need to be the fire in the belly every day for this book to go somewhere. Make sure you're ready to try different promotional starts. Make sure you're reading books, keeping up to date with trends, keeping up to date with the social medias if you're using them. As you already know, I heavily use social media. So make sure you know what's happening in the background, because a lot of those algorithms will change, and that will change your sales pitch or the way you'll advertise. So are you going to advertise on Amazon? Are you going to advertise on BookBub? You need to do your research before any of this. Before you hit publish, make sure that you have done your research as to how you're going to promote it as well, and the consistency of that. So then once you've gone through all those, obviously you have reviewers, you have readers, promotions, whether you're doing a book tour, book release day, BLITZ online, how are you contacting bookstores to actually sign? Are you doing physical signings? Are you guest speaking at local bookstores or libraries or cafes, wherever it may be? How in depth do you want to be when it comes to the promotion of this book? I know a lot of authors solely do it online because they're quite shy people, and that's fine. For me personally, I like to just get out there and get in there. So I will do book signings, guest speaking, events and such. And then that's another thing. Do you want to be doing conventions and signings? There's a whole pile of things that you need to consider before you go into this journey, because I do not want you to be disappointed when you first start realizing that there is a lot more work, and there always is. There's so much work to do. But if you want it to be a success, you need to put that work in. So that is what you really need to decide. Is self-publishing the avenue for me? Because if it is, then you will be happy to do all of this work. You'll be happy to get in there and drive it home. If you don't really want to do any of this, then I would recommend getting an agent to go and find a traditional publisher, whereas they will do a lot of the promotion. Again, with this said, traditional publishers very much like active authors, so they will still hope that you're creating hype, that you have platforms and followers that are already, basically, if you are going to them, you want to make sure that you're selling them a package. That knowing if they invest in you, because it is an investment, they're putting a lot of money into your book and they need to make sure it can sell. So if you say, yeah, by the way, I already have 5,000, 10,000 readers that would be interested in this book, then that's more likely gonna get you a contract. So basically that is my pep talk as to things that, it may have sounded like a rant, I don't know, I'm sorry, but these are things that are just coming off the top of my head, because when I first got into this, I was not prepared for the amount of work that I would, because I became so in love with this. I became so engrossed in it. I kept learning more and more and more. And I realized how much hard work it is. And that's fine if you're willing to do it. But I would hate for you to be disappointed thinking that you can just click print and that your book's going to go off. There is a lot of work in it. So just make sure that you're prepared for that. If you have any questions, please do ask. Again, I'm sure I'll do videos in the upcoming months of particular things that I may have commented on throughout this video. But I hope this gives you a rough idea as to what you can expect when you choose self-publishing. So very, very much good luck and much love always. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Bye guys.